Listen closely, chosen one, because this message is not just a message. It is a spiritual confirmation, a prophetic whisper wrapped in fire and clarity. You didn't lose those people, those jobs, those opportunities by accident. That rejection wasn't random. The isolation wasn't a coincidence. Every door that slammed in your face was heaven's hand at work, shifting you away from disaster and guiding you toward destiny. You have cried behind closed doors no one even knew existed. You've questioned your worth, begged God for answers, pleaded for just one sign, and the silence was deafening. But hear this, God was never absent. He was engineering something holy behind the scenes. You didn't see it then, but that delay, that betrayal, that closed door, it was divine protection disguised as pain. You are the chosen one. That's why the path has felt so narrow. That's why your heart has endured what most would crumble under. You were never created for the ordinary. You were created for something sacred. And before God opens the door that leads to purpose, He will close every counterfeit one. He will rip away distractions. He will make you wait until you are ready, until your character is stronger than your craving. Because the anointing on your life cannot rest on shaky foundations. There were moments you felt forgotten, didn't you? Moments you watched others succeed while you sat in the shadows, praying with cracked hands and tired eyes. But what you didn't know is that you were being hidden, preserved. You were being separated not because you were unworthy, but because you are too valuable to be exposed too soon. You were never being denied. You were being prepared. The doors you once begged to open would have destroyed you. The relationships you clung to were draining your soul. The environments you kept returning to were poisoning your peace. But God saw what you couldn't. He saw the traps. He saw the spiritual warfare. He saw the envy behind the smiles. And in His mercy, He slammed those doors shut, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because when you're chosen, God's priority is not your comfort, it's your calling. And you feel it, don't you? Deep down, you've always felt different, set apart, misunderstood. Even as a child, your spirit was too deep for shallow spaces. People tried to label you, diminish you, box you in, but you couldn't shrink to fit their expectations because your soul has always known there is more. That quiet fire in your belly, that resistance to settle, that ache for truth, that was God reminding you, you're not like them, you're chosen. But being chosen doesn't mean you're always celebrated. In fact, it often means you'll be rejected first, overlooked, mocked. You've had doors close without explanation. People walk away with no closure. Opportunities vanish just when you thought the breakthrough was near. But listen, God is not cruel. He's strategic. Every no you've received is tied to a higher yes He's preparing. What you're going through isn't random, it's spiritual. You've been walking through fire, but it's not to burn you, it's to refine you. The heartbreak, it's teaching you boundaries. The loneliness, it's sharpening your discernment. The waiting, it's building endurance. And every time you thought it was over, God was just resetting the stage for something greater. You see, the enemy wanted to wear you down in the hallway. He wanted you to grow bitter while the door stayed shut. He wanted you to curse God in the silence, but you didn't. You held on, even when your faith was only a whisper. You showed up even when your heart was shattered, and because of that, heaven has taken notice. There's a spiritual law many don't understand. When you're truly chosen, God won't let you settle into anything that can't sustain your purpose. That's why the job fell through. That's why they couldn't love you right. That's why the deal collapsed. Because if it isn't aligned with your divine identity, God will shut it down. Don't confuse delay with denial. Don't mistake rejection for abandonment. God isn't ignoring you. He's upgrading you. He's building something that can't be taken away. He's preparing a door so tailor-made it will fit your soul like armor. And when it opens, you won't have to beg for it. It will swing wide with ease because it was built for you. So take a breath, release the guilt, Let go of the shame that whispers you should be further by now. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Every detour had a divine purpose. Every closed door was a necessary redirection, and the breakthrough that's coming will make every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer worth it. You've been forged in fire, chosen one. You've been broken only to be rebuilt with heaven's blueprint. The foundation is ready. The time is near. And the right door, it's not just opening. It's being commanded open by God Himself. No man can stop it. No demon can delay it. No past mistake can disqualify you. And when it happens, it will happen suddenly. You'll go from hidden to highlighted, from overlooked to overbooked, from mourning to miracles. And the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to watch as God lifts you before their eyes. Hold on a little longer. Keep walking in obedience. Don't try to kick open doors God has locked. What's coming won't need forcing. It will feel like home, and you'll look back at all the doors that closed, smile through the tears and say, "Thank you, God, for loving me enough to say no." Because that no was never the end. It was the divine pause before the door you were born for swings wide. You've fought battles people will never understand, and you've survived storms that should have drowned you. But here you are, still breathing, still standing, still believing. That's not just strength. That's divine resilience. That's spiritual warfare, and you've been in it longer than you know. Chosen one, let me tell you a truth that will shake your soul. The reason you've faced so many setbacks is because of who you are in the spirit realm. Your existence is a threat to darkness. Your very presence unsettles demonic systems. You are marked, not by man, but by God. That's why you've been targeted. That's why the attacks felt personal, because they were. There were nights you laid in bed, your body still but your soul aching, wondering, why me? Why does it feel like I take one step forward and get pushed 3 steps back? Why does betrayal follow me like a shadow? Why do people misread my kindness as weakness and stab me with the very trust I gave them? And the answer is this: because you're not walking an average path. You're on sacred territory. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't dangerous to his plans. He attacks what carries destiny. He attacks what he fears. And you, chosen one, are dangerous to the darkness. The oil on your life was costly. That's why the crushing was intense. But the pain were roof. You were being prepared for power. They didn't see what you endured behind the smile. They didn't hear the prayers you whispered through clenched teeth. But heaven heard. God saw. Every battle you faced was recorded in the divine archive, and none of it will be wasted. Not a single tear. You were never overlooked. You were being observed. Not by men, but by God. And while you were suffering in silence, He was writing your vindication. That's why your enemies should have never touched you. That's why those who lied on your name, who celebrated your pain, who left you for dead spiritually, they're trembling now because they feel it. They sense it. Your elevation is near. The tables are turning. They don't know how to explain it, but your light is getting brighter. Your name is being spoken in rooms they tried to keep you out of. Opportunities are circling back. Peace is returning to your heart. And joy, the kind that's rooted in the spirit, is rising from the ashes of your grief. You've been through spiritual warfare that would have broken most. That's not an exaggeration. That's the truth. The enemy sent distractions, temptations, betrayals, delays, confusion, but none of it worked. You didn't bow, you didn't quit. You may have stumbled, but you didn't stay down, and that's what separates you from the rest. You are spiritually fortified, and though the door has remained closed longer than you expected, you've grown stronger while you waited. Your eyes have been opened. Your spirit has been trained. And you now see people for who they truly are, not for who they pretended to be. That clarity, that's part of the blessing. God needed to teach you how to discern, how to protect your space, how to move in silence. Because where He's taking you, not everyone can follow. And not everyone who started with you was sent by Him. Some were distractions in disguise. Some were planted by the enemy to delay your destiny. And when those doors closed, whether it was a relationship, a business, a friendship, God wasn't being cruel. He was cutting ties to save your future. And you've probably noticed the closer you get to breakthrough, the more intense the warfare becomes. The more it feels like everything is being stripped from you. But that's not destruction. It's divine pruning. God is removing the last remnants of the old season so you can carry the new one with clean hands and a pure heart. Your spiritual strength is not in how loud you shout, but in how quietly you endure. It's in how you love without bitterness, how you stay soft in a hard world, how you forgive without an apology. That's power. That's spiritual maturity, and you've developed it through fire, not through comfort. The people who underestimated you, they never saw the spiritual armor you were wearing. They judged you by your silence, not knowing your silence was soaked in prayer. They thought you were weak because you didn't retaliate, but God was your defense. And now He's about to prove that His favor was on you all along. They're watching now. They're curious. The same ones who left you for nothing are circling back, confused by your glow, because something about you has changed. You're not begging anymore. You're not proving anything. You're not available for chaos. And that silence, that peace, that's prophetic. It means God is about to speak for you in ways your words never could. There's a sound in the spirit, a shaking, a shifting, a rising, and it's coming from within you. What they buried didn't die, it was planted. And now the seed has broken through the soil. The roots are deep. The growth is undeniable. And the fruit, oh, the fruit will be abundant. You're not just coming back. You're coming back transformed, elevated, refined. And the very ones who tried to block you will have to watch as the door they closed becomes the stage for your divine reveal. You see, God didn't allow the pain to punish you. He allowed it to position you. He wasn't trying to break your spirit. He was breaking the chains of people-pleasing, the chains of fear, the chains of scarcity, the chains of generational wounds. You were being liberated in the dark so you could shine in the light. And now the enemy is terrified because you finally see your worth. You finally know who you are, not just in theory, but in truth. You've stopped waiting for permission. You've stopped apologizing for your calling. And that spiritual confidence, that's dangerous, because now you can't be manipulated, baited, or distracted. You are laser focused on God's timing. And when He opens that door, and He will, it won't be just any door. It'll be the right one, the one that makes everything make sense, the one that fits your anointing, your voice, your vision, the one that requires every ounce of growth you've gained. So don't resent the battle. Don't curse the delay. Don't mourn what was never meant to last, because what's ahead is holy. What's coming is sacred, and you, chosen one, are about to walk into a season that matches your soul. Get ready. Now hear this, chosen one. What God is about to do in your life is not just restoration. It's justice, it's divine reversal, and it will be public. God is not just healing your heart in private. He is preparing to honor you in the presence of every voice that spoke against you. Every door that was slammed in your face was a setup for a greater entrance. This isn't just about a new opportunity, it's about vindication. It's about the public display of God's hand over your life. The same God who saw you weep in secret is about to reward you openly. Yes, your pain was personal, but your breakthrough will be visible. Don't forget, God doesn't waste anything. Every injustice you endured, every lie you outlived, every plot that was meant to break you, He took it all and stored it in the vault of heaven. And now the scales of justice are tipping in your favor. The doors that closed weren't punishment. They were divine redirection. And now the right door, ordained, preserved, unstoppable, is about to open without the need for compromise. They called you a failure. They called you too sensitive, too intense, too much. But God called you faithful. He called you chosen. And in this hour, it's not their opinion that matters. It's heaven's decree. You see, While they laughed at your silence, mocked your waiting, and whispered about your downfall, God was building something in you that no man can dismantle. That stillness you've been sitting in wasn't inactivity, it was spiritual gestation. Your spirit has been incubating power, purpose, clarity. And now it's time to birth what's been hidden. You are not walking out of this season the same. You're walking out crowned, elevated, secure. Because when the right door opens, it doesn't just change your location. It reveals your true identity. No longer the rejected, no longer the betrayed, no longer the one who always almost made it. No, this time you will walk through the door as the fulfilled promise, as the one God raised up in the face of opposition, as the walking proof that what God ordains, no man can stop. So let your spirit be encouraged today, not by empty words, but by truth that is alive inside of you. You are not late. You are not behind. You have been synchronized with divine timing. The things you thought were delays were really alignments. You weren't waiting. You were being positioned. And now the time of unveiling is drawing near. Let your soul breathe again. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. God is not done with you. In fact, He's just getting started. Because this is the season where He exposes what's real and removes what isn't. That's why the people you once trusted are being distanced. That's why you feel disconnected from things that once excited you. God is shifting your appetite, recalibrating your discernment, fine-tuning your spiritual radar, because where you're going, your sensitivity to His voice must be razor sharp. You can't afford to follow the wrong crowd anymore. You can't keep entertaining what drains your spirit. This next level requires complete surrender, not partial obedience. And you know it. That's why you feel uncomfortable in places that used to feel like home. That's why the conversations around you now feel shallow, because your spirit is ascending, and anything that cannot meet you there is falling away. This is not rejection, this is promotion. And yes, the promotion is spiritual first, but it will manifest naturally. You will see it in the restoration of your mind, in the shift in your energy, in the way doors begin to open without striving, in how peace begins to follow you like a shadow. But you must stay alert. You must guard your oil, because not everyone will be happy for you. Some will smile, but their hearts will ache with envy. Some will applaud while plotting your fall. Don't fear them, discern them, and trust that God has already gone before you. There is nothing they can do to stop what's coming. Because this blessing was never dependent on them, it was written with your name on it before the foundations of the world. The door that's opening is not a coincidence. It's a covenant, and it comes with power. It comes with visibility. It comes with responsibility. But you're ready. You've earned it through obedience. You've earned it through endurance. And most importantly, you've earned it through silence, because you didn't expose those who hurt you. You didn't retaliate. You didn't match their bitterness. You let God fight for you. And that right there is why He's about to reward you beyond what you imagined. This door won't look like what you expected. It'll be better. It'll be infused with purpose, drenched in grace, and sealed with heaven's approval. And when you step through it, you won't just be entering a new level, you'll be entering your divine assignment. You're not just chosen to be blessed. You're chosen to be a vessel, to carry light in dark places, to speak life into dead situations, to reflect God in a world that has forgotten what purity feels like. You were never just meant to survive. You were called to shake the atmosphere. So prepare your spirit, rehearse your praise. The door is opening not because of who you know, but because of who knows you. Heaven has signed your name, and the time of hiding is over. This is the season of revealing, the season of favor, the season of divine recompense. Chosen one, it's your time, and nothing and no one can close what God is about to open. Let's go deeper now, chosen one. Because if you truly want to understand why those doors had to close, why the betrayal had to sting, why the silence had to linger, why certain paths suddenly vanished beneath your feet. You must look beyond the surface. You must look with your spirit, not your emotions. You must see not just what happened, but why it happened in the spirit realm. Everything that was taken from you wasn't loss. It was release. That job you were desperate to keep, that relationship you swore was meant to last, that opportunity that looked like your big break, they didn't disappear because you were unworthy. They disappeared because they were too small for your soul's mission. They couldn't hold the weight of your calling. God saw the future you couldn't. He knew that if you walked through those doors, they would limit you, trap you, dim you, and so he closed them, even when you begged him not to, even when it broke your heart. Because your comfort is not God's highest priority. Your purpose is. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to break through, and breaking through means outgrowing, shedding, letting go of what no longer serves the divine version of you. The version that's been hidden under years of people-pleasing, fear, trauma, and false identity. That's why the attacks felt so targeted. That's why certain people turned on you without warning. It wasn't about what you did, it was about what you carry. Your light exposed their shadows. Your peace irritated their chaos. Your growth became a threat to their control. And so they projected. They lied. They dismissed you, but don't take it personal. Their behavior was never about you. It was a reflection of their own inner war. The moment you stopped shrinking to fit their comfort, they labeled you as the problem. That's what happens when a chosen one begins to wake up. When you stop living from a place of lack and start reclaiming your divine identity, people who were comfortable with your silence will panic when you speak. But the truth is, God had to allow some of those wounds so you would stop looking to people for validation, so you would return to Him for identity. Because before He opens that right door, He must detox your soul from every counterfeit connection, every relationship that fed your ego but starved your spirit, every voice that sounded supportive but carried poison. You were trained through loss. Your discernment was sharpened through disappointment. And now you see the pattern, don't you? Every closed door taught you something. Every betrayal exposed a truth. Every delay forced you to dig deeper into your own spirit. You thought you were being punished. But in reality, God was promoting you inwardly, so that when the external breakthrough comes, your soul will be strong enough to carry it. See, chosen one, people want elevation, but they don't want excavation. They want the blessing without the breaking. But the reason you are different is because you've been through the spiritual excavation. You've faced your own shadows. You've cried out to God in desperation. You've laid your dreams at His feet and said, "Not my will, but yours." And because of that surrender, you've stepped into a spiritual law that few understand. God doesn't trust crowns to those who haven't been crushed. You had to be crushed to be crowned. And now your perception is different. You're not moved by applause. You're not hungry for validation. You don't need to fit in. That's why you're ready. That's why God had to wait to open the door. Because the old version of you would have sabotaged the blessing with insecurity, with pride, with people-pleasing. But the new you, the reborn you, you're anchored in truth. You're not led by ego, you're led by spirit. And that makes you unstoppable. So when you ask, why did God close those doors? The answer is simple but sacred. Because they weren't in covenant with your calling. Because the timeline you thought was perfect would have led to premature exposure. Because some environments only loved the version of you that stayed small. And God refused to let you build your purpose on shaky soil. He let the doors slam so you'd stop knocking. He let the relationship break so you'd stop compromising. He let the path disappear so you'd return to Him for direction. It was mercy, not punishment. And now you carry wisdom you didn't have before. Spiritual maturity, emotional clarity, discernment that cuts through illusion. You now understand the paradox of the chosen, that before God multiplies your influence, He divides your attachments. Before He opens the next level, He subtracts what cannot survive there. And it hurts, oh it hurts. But this pain was a prophecy in disguise. It told you what could no longer stay. It pointed to what had to go. And it prepared you for what's about to come. Because what's coming is not just a better situation, it's a spiritual alignment. The right door is not just about success. It's about peace, integrity, wholeness. It's about walking in your divine assignment without compromise. And chosen one, I feel this deep in my spirit. You are finally ready. Ready to walk through a door that was built with your soul in mind. No more forcing, no more chasing, no more bending yourself just to be seen. Because the one who sees you now is God. And when he opens a door, no man, no devil, no memory can shut it. You've been through the fire, you've faced the storm, you've danced in the wilderness. And now it's time to walk boldly into the promise. But not because you're perfect, because you're purified. And purity attracts favor, so walk with your head high. The closed doors were never rejections. They were divine redirections. Every no, every delay, every betrayal was part of the strategy. And the right door? It's about to confirm everything your spirit already knew. That you were chosen, that you were protected, and that God never forgot you. So here you are, chosen one, standing on the edge of something sacred. You've made it through the storm, not untouched, but transformed, not empty, but awakened. And that's exactly what God intended, because what you've been through wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to reveal you. You see now, don't you? The closed doors weren't curses. They were clarity. They were heaven's way of saying, not this one, not now, I have something better. And now your heart understands what your mind once questioned. You've grown enough to stop asking, why me? And started saying, thank you. Thank you for not giving me what I thought I wanted. Thank you for protecting me from what looked like a blessing but was really a burden in disguise. Thank you for every silence that taught me to hear your whisper more clearly. This is what happens when the chosen awaken. You stop chasing what was never meant for you. You stop grieving closed doors, and you start walking with a quiet confidence, a sacred fire that cannot be dimmed. You know now that what's for you will not pass you. You understand that delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. And that's where you are now. Prepared, purified, positioned. The right door is not just opening, it is aligning with every promise God whispered into your soul when no one else was listening. It is the door that doesn't just fit your gift, it honors your pain, your process, your perseverance. It's not built on pretense, it's built on purpose. And you, chosen one, have become the vessel worthy of walking through it. There's something about being crushed that softens the soul and sharpens the spirit. You don't walk the same after you've been rejected by the very people you prayed for. You don't speak the same after you've sat with your own brokenness and invited God into the fragments. There's a quiet power in you now, a holy resilience. You're no longer seeking applause. You're seeking alignment. You've learned to be led, not driven. And that's why you're ready. You're not walking through this next door just to be seen. You're walking through to serve. You're not entering to prove your worth. You're stepping in because you already know it. And you won't have to strive or compete or perform. The oil on your life will speak for you. You won't have to knock this time. The door will open on its own. Because when heaven moves, no one can block it. And when heaven speaks, every voice that tried to silence you will be drowned in divine glory. This is your confirmation. The right door is ordained. The right opportunity is sealed. And you don't have to worry about missing it because it was made for you. But hear this and hear it clearly. Don't return to what God removed. Don't re-enter doors He closed with thunder. Don't try to make sense of what He already said no to. Some doors are shut for your survival, others for your sanctification, and all for your elevation. God is a God of intentionality. He doesn't waste pain. He doesn't let doors close without preparing an upgrade. So trust the flow, walk with grace, And remember this always: you were never behind, you were never forgotten, you were never abandoned. You were being prepared. Because you're not average, you're not replaceable, you're not random. You are chosen, and the world is about to witness what God does for those who waited in the wilderness, who praised in private, who didn't quit in the crushing. The door is opening, and this time you won't have to force it. This time, you'll walk through it like the royalty you were born to be, not because of who you are, but because of who He is: faithful, just, merciful, and wildly generous with those who trust Him. So go ahead, take the next step, walk through with gratitude. You're not the same person who stood outside those old doors crying. You're wiser now, stronger, cleaner, and most of all, aware of who you are, aware of who He is, aware of the destiny that's been hovering over your life since the beginning. This is not the end of the story. This is the door that leads to everything God promised you. Walk forward, chosen one. Walk boldly. Walk softly. Walk free. And as you do, leave the past behind. Let every closed door echo behind you like a song of protection. Let every no you once grieved become a symphony of thank you, God. Because the right door is open, and the future waiting behind it is divine.